Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is going to be a story time slash a little education on hair loss and how I was able to treat it. So keep watching to find out more information on my journey with hair loss, and please don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe to make sure you see future videos. Today I'm going to be talking about a very personal experience I've gone through. The only people who knew of this experience were a handful of family and maybe one or two very close personal friends. I decided that I'd be transparent and share this story because I wanted to at least help one person experiencing the same thing I went through. As you know, your hair can be a very big part of your identity, and I didn't really comprehend other people's hair loss journey until I went through the same experience and pain myself. Before I get into my story, I want to give a little background of what alopecia areata is. It is an autoimmune disorder that cannot be cured but can be treated. It occurs when the immune system attacks your hair follicles and may be brought on by severe stress. Other causes can be vitamin D deficiency, genetics, and also people have a greater risk when they have atopic dermatitis and asthma, which I actually have both. But if you want to research more, please click the link below. Many people who develop alopecia areata develop an oval or round patch on their scalp. When the hair regrows, it may never fall out again. It's also possible to have unpredictable cycles of hair loss and hair growth for years. So there are three types of alopecia: alopecia areata, alopecia totalis, and alopecia universalis. Alopecia is a medical term for bald, and areata is a medical term for patchy. This patchy baldness can develop anywhere on the body, including the eyebrows, scalp, ears, and even in the nose. Basically anywhere that hair can grow. Alopecia totalis means you have lost complete hair loss on your scalp. Alopecia universalis is when the person loses hair completely all over their body, leaving the body hairless. This is rare, however. Getting back into my personal story with alopecia areata, I'm not too sure exactly when I started losing hair, but I do know when I noticed. This was October 17th, 2020, around 12:30 a.m. And I know this because I took a picture, and I'll post one here so you can see exactly what it looks like when I noticed I was losing my hair. So I had just taken a shower, and I was now on the couch watching a show. And I was feeling my scalp, playing with my hair, and all of a sudden I felt right here, and it felt rubbery. It was honestly the weirdest feeling I ever felt, but something came to mind. Someone I knew very close to me had alopecia areata, and that person's face came to mind, knowing that this could be alopecia areata. So at the time, I was living with my ex, and I asked him to come over and check if I was balding. So I went exactly like this. I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he nodded yes. A feeling of despair came over me, basically. But at the same time, knowing that I knew someone going through the same thing, I felt a little bit of a relief because they actually were treated and the hair ended up growing back. But I was holding my fingers like this because I knew sometimes not all treatments work for everyone. So at the time I did feel scared and very lonely. I was, however, very grateful for that family member. So at the time I was living in Illinois, and I booked an appointment for the doctor right away. I already knew that I needed to go to a dermatologist and I needed to get injections. But I had to go to primary care first because of my insurance. And it was probably the worst experience I went through because sitting there now remembering, I felt like a test dummy. And I felt even more horrible than when I found out I had alopecia areata because he basically probably Googled alopecia areata and found out there is no cure. So he basically told me there's nothing I can do to fix this. But I told him there is, and I wanted him to check my blood levels because vitamin D is definitely one of the causes of alopecia areata. After some time, he did bring in a resident, and him and the resident were just looking at my scalp. I just felt basically like a lab rat. He did say he would check my blood levels because I made sure he did, and I left that doctor's office never looking back. Luckily for me, I was working from home at the time, and it was very easy for me to travel. So I booked a flight to New Jersey, and I went to the same dermatologist that I knew helped that family member. It was an older gentleman, and he was so kind and so sweet, and he knew exactly what to do. He sprayed lidocaine on my scalp for a cooling and numbing effect. And then he proceeded to inject me with corticosteroids. Even though there was lidocaine, I definitely felt the pain, but it was definitely worth it. He then told me come back in 4 to 6 weeks. I went back in 4 weeks, and I kept going back every month. I didn't check my hair very often from what I remember, but I did see a change in February that my hair was growing back. And I was super ecstatic and super thankful. I would say alopecia areata did save my life because I ended up leaving my ex and moving back to Jersey permanently and finding happiness again. I didn't want to chop my hair off because obviously I was losing my hair at the time, so I decided to dye it blonde. Would highly not recommend because the blonde dye does actually make your hair more brittle and weak. So I would maybe recommend highlights just so you have that balance between your real hair and the dyed hair. However, that wasn't the last of my alopecia areata. I did end up getting another spot right here, and as you can see, my hair is not completely grown out yet. And I also have another right here behind my ear that's still growing. So when I tie my hair up in a bun, my hair does end up falling down, and I do feel a little self-conscious, but I either put a clip or I leave my hair down for the most part. I used to put my hair up all the time, which is so funny to me that nobody noticed those patches. My hair was always up in a bun right here. So my entire back of my scalp was mostly showing for the most part. Who knows? So as we said, alopecia areata cannot be cured. Patches occur till this day. We won't know unless we check. So I always check my scalp, and I always have Greg check. I just try to live my life as best as possible without worrying about it because, as we said, stress can cause it. So one of the main outlets I have to relieve my stress is going to the gym. I go to the gym 5 to 6 days out of the week, and I started going to the gym when I was actually in high school, and my friends would be gossiping while I would be doing crunches. So the gym has been a big part of my life, but now I focus more on the body part, the breathing, the form. Another big part of my life is meditation. I at least try to do a 10-minute guided meditation or a 5-minute guided meditation if I'm not feeling up for that extra 5 minutes. And it makes me remember that I am safe, I am happy, and I am healthy. And lastly, now that I've met Greg, I implement a lot of activities into my life, such as snowboarding, skateboarding, rollerblading, biking. We go to the beach and we try to relax, eat good food, and splurge on our relationship. We both have been through crazy things in our lives where we want to live a happy life together. So going back to the corticosteroids are not good for you long term. But I do recommend Ayurvedic medicines. I've grown up with Ayurvedic medicines because of my parents. It is an alternative medicine with the historical roots from the Indian subcontinent. I grew up using coconut oil, so I've implemented that into my regime, and I will rub my hair in the shower. I also started using a new oil when I did start losing my hair, and it's called the Main Choice. It's actually a very little bottle. I'm not too sure if I found it on Amazon or ShopRite, but I'm pretty sure you can find it at ShopRite. Here is the coconut oil I use. It is organic extra virgin coconut oil. And then I do use microneedles. I actually bought this for my face, but when researching how to help alopecia areata, I found that microneedling is great. You put your alcohol right here so that when you use any of the microneedles, you clean it out right here. So there is the one where you stamp the needles, and then there's the roll-ons in different sizes. Lastly, if you are experiencing hair loss such as alopecia areata, please go to the doctor and get your blood work done. And also get a recommendation or a referral for the dermatologist so that they can further help you in treating your alopecia areata. So as you know, working out is a big part of my life and Greg's life. So please check out our previous video for chest and buys and how I relieve my stress. So go check out that video. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you learned something out of this story time.